Hi guys, I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery, and I'm located in Van.
And I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, located in Highland Heights, Kentucky.
And welcome to Wheel Talk. Hello.
Hello. All right, we're live.
We're live and we're together.
In person.
In person.
Yes. Your travels have begun.
Yes.
Where are you headed?
I'm officially headed to Utah. Utah is the final destination.
But you don't have to be there for weeks, right?
Right. Like there's no definite like date that I have to be there. Definitive date. I just have to be there. Well, I have to be there by ClayCon West.
Which is in a month.
In a month. But I'll probably be there in like 10 days. It's just that last year when I drove to California in 4 days, it was
Did you go a similar route though? Did
awful.
You go through like Memphis and then go that way? Or did you go
No, I went
from Indianapolis toward like Kansas?
I was in Memphis and then I went up to Colorado. And then I went down to Albuquerque and then over to California.
Down to Albuquerque?
Yeah, and then over to California.
What is that, like straight south of Colorado?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Dang.
like... Yeah,
so you
because...
drove a lot.
Yeah, because I didn't want to, like, drive in the snow.
Oh. But did you know somebody in Albuquerque, though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Speckleware.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember her name, but...
Maddie.
Maddie.
Yeah. So I met up with her, and that was cool. And then... But I think I didn't stay at her house. We just, like, ate dinner and chatted, and then I drove to Arizona.
But wait, was that... Did you have the van?
Mm-hmm.
At that... Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I had the van.
Okay, so you made
I had
that
the van
trek.
and both cats at that time.
Okay. Wow. But you didn't build it out and all that at that point?
No, it was pretty much the same.
Oh, it was? Okay. It's hard to remember timeline and, like, when
I
you
know.
got the van.
You know what's wild is that, like, when we built the van, I was like, oh, this is going to be temporary. And I remember as we were building it, me and Brandon looking at each other, and he's like, you're never going to change this. And I was like, you're right. And it's been a year, and I haven't changed a goddamn
But, I mean,
thing.
what would you... like... Because you wouldn't want to rip out everything that you already invested. So, like, you'd almost want to, like, update insulation and stuff, but not... Or, like, put, like, vinyl flooring down? Or, like...
Yeah, well...
How do you make upgrades without just
everything...
undoing everything?
Well, we did everything so that it could be taken out. Like, we designed it so that, like, you can take off the insulation and, like, update the studs behind it, and then, like, you know, the flooring is subflooring, so really I could just I could have and should have just slapped some vinyl on top of it.
Mm-hmm. Would that change much, though? That wouldn't help with insulation and making
No, it would just, like, be easier to clean.
Okay, because it's like the thin wood, right?
It's a thin wood, and it's not all together, so it, some parts, like, come up, and so when you sweep it, it, like, gets caught.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
splintery.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah.
So you're making the trek, but this time you're not going through Colorado and stuff because you want to avoid the weather.
No. If I was a good daughter, I would go through Colorado. I've gone back and forth on it because I know my parents would love for me to be there for Christmas, and my brother's going to be there, and I haven't been to my parents' house for Christmas for probably 15 years. But
15 years?
Yeah.
Wow. Even just to, like, see them for Christmas, not, like, the whole family Christmas. You're just saying...
Christmas.
Yeah. But family hasn't historically come in town and all that. Like, does your brother come in for Christmas every couple years or something? Or is it just...
No.
Because your sister lives there,
It's maybe been 10 years.
Okay. I was like, 15's a long time. That would have been when you were, like, in college.
Yeah, so, like, I I think 2013 was the last year I was home for Christmas.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, 10 years.
That was like
10
right
years.
after college, or at the end of college.
Well, it's just fucking hard to get everybody home at the same time. And my parents decided to build a house that only has one guest bedroom. Like, what the fuck? Like,
Isn't it a good sized house too?
Yeah, it's like a 3,500 square foot house. They only
what do you do with all the rooms that aren't guest rooms? Like, they're just really big rooms?
Yeah. There's three really big rooms. One room is for sewing for my mom. One room is their bedroom. And then one room is the guest room. And then they have the living room and the kitchen.
Do they have like a den and a study and a library and a...
They do have a den.
Which is typically like not used at all.
I think the 3,500 square feet includes the mother-in-law apartment downstairs. I'm not positive, but I think it does.
Because basements
but
don't
quite literally, you could roller skate in my parents' house. If there was like no furniture, it would be the size of a roller rink. I feel like it's so fucking huge,
gosh.
and like
it's like 3,500 square feet, two
like
bedroom.
Their kitchen is the size of this room.
This whole room?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like their kitchen part goes to probably the brick wall, and then.
And this room's like 25 feet by 15 feet maybe?
15. 25 by 12, 15, yeah. Yeah. Like their kitchen is for sure that wide, 15 feet wide. And then it has this like 10-foot dining table in it. It might be 8 feet. It's fucking giant. And like...
But then you say, isn't it like a hand-me-down? It's like an old dining table or
yeah,
something?
Yeah, for sure. It's got tile in it. It's like one of those like shitty farmhouse dining tables that has tile in it. But my mom loves it. She's like, she really likes antiques. So, yeah. But yeah, no, my like, it's fucking ginormous.
So if well, obviously you go and you stay in the van, but like, your brother comes and he stays in the one guest room and then you just have to make do, and
one of us
like
has
sleep
to
in the blow up in the sewing room or something.
Yeah, or sleep on the couch.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, you know what?
You told me about sleeping on the couch. Yeah.
Like you could have planned this a little bit better. Like
this is like, don't come visit us.
No, what's funny though is that my mom's like, you all have to come visit us at the same time. But by the way, only one bedroom. And up until last
is that bedroom
year,
a good size at least for like a guest room, or is it like a tiny room like?
No, it's a nice guest
12
room.
12 by 12.
Yeah, but by the way, up until last year, that guest bedroom had the same bed that they slept in for 20 years.
Right.
So.
Jeez.
Yep. And I can't sleep in the van when I'm at their house at Christmas time because it's always like -2 degrees.
It's just way too cold, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you park in the garage and stay in the garage?
No, it's too tall. The van's too tall.
Ah.
I could park the van in their neighbor's garage, but I couldn't park it in their garage.
Would they let you do that? Would it be worth doing that? Because I would guess the garage, like if it's -2 outside, would it be like 20 in the garage?
Potentially. Usually in Colorado you have heated garages because.
Oh really?
You have to, or else everything in your garage
like the pipe
freezes
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So I'm guessing they don't really have detached garages.
No.
That's not a thing.
No. I mean, there is. You can, but no. Like everything just freezes. But I mean, yes. Obviously, yes. People have detached garages, but but their neighbor's name is Dot, and she's an elderly lady. I think she's in her 80s. And my dad goes to the food bank and gets her food and like makes her soup and cooks her food, and they basically take care of Dot. Like they've just adopted.
So she's not using the garage.
Adopted her. Well, and her son, who
she probably has a guest room you could stay in. Probably.
Her son has her son recently passed away, but he was a semi-driver, so they have a tall garage. So I could put the van in her garage. However, I have never met Dot.
Oh, you just heard about her?
Yeah, so love my family.
Okay, so not going through Colorado.
Not going through
Did you figure out a route you're doing then?
Yeah, I think I'm going Memphis, Little Rock.
Oh, going back to Little Rock.
Yeah, I really liked Little Rock. Memphis, Little Rock.
Go to Louisiana.
Sorry, Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City, Amarillo, Texas, Albuquerque, New Mexico, Flagstaff, Arizona, and then up to St. George.
Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be nice.
That seems pretty reasonable.
And I've never been to Texas, and I've never been to, and I haven't spent a lot of time in Oklahoma, so I'd like to.
Yeah, Amarillo is probably pretty small, I would suspect.
I would hope.
It's not like a Dallas or
Yeah.
Fort Worth, Houston.
So yeah.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. Done with selling.
So do you have people you're stopping to see along the way, or just those are just your big points of interest?
Just until Memphis.
Okay.
I might see if Maddie wants to meet up again.
Yeah.
But
New Mexico.
Yeah. But
What? There's a Las Vegas, New Mexico. Did you know that?
I don't doubt it. I really want to explore New Mexico a little bit more. It's quite lovely, from what I gathered.
Looks like there's a lot of Indian reservations and stuff there.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're going to be in Utah for a while.
Yeah. Until, for sure, March. And then, I don't know if... Part of me is like, ew, it would make a lot of sense if I drove to my parents' house mid-March and then hopped on a plane to go to Enseca.
Yeah.
And then came back, picked up the van.
Drove it back.
And then drove to Indy in April.
Back mid-east.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a long way away. That's like 4 months.
Yeah, we can figure that out later.
But
yeah.
The next 10 days is going to be making your way to...
Yeah. For sure.
Okay.
What's your week been like?
I'm trying to think. Today's Tuesday. I had my last show of the season this weekend. So that was... It was kind of a filler show because I was supposed to be building the soda kiln this weekend. And this past weekend, and we shifted the schedule because it wasn't going to be what I expected it to be. Yeah. So kind of made the tough decision to move it. I would have loved to get the soda kiln built this year and do all that, but with the planning and who all wanted to be here and who I wanted to be here and help out and make it more of an experience, because you can only build it once. Like, I'm not going to be rebuilding it over and over, so that experience is kind of special. And the time of year was like, I'm making a sacrifice of not doing shows this time of year so I can make sure that I have this done, because I set a goal for myself, but did not happen. So we're going to reschedule in February, January, something like that. I think February, and it's going to be cold as shit, but that's okay. It actually turned out it was like great weather on Friday, Saturday.
And you're like, God damn it!
I was like, man, that would have been good. Because I think it was like mid-50s, which is unseasonably warm for December.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I had the filler show at Washington Park, which I did last year and the year before that, I think. So it's kind of like a small scale. The 3CDC plans it, which is the group that manages the park itself. So they're not like in the business of hosting events and all that and dealing with artists and vendors and all that kind of thing all the time. So it wasn't like super curated, and they just kind of like filled spots, and they have like 10 people selling, and that's about it. And I'm trying to think of what other like mediums and stuff there. They were like soaps, and some dude like made pens. Like, I think he did like woodworking and made the pens, like ballpoint pens. And then it was just kind of like somebody was doing wine tastings with like wine decor things or something. So it was kind of not really like artists, I wouldn't say. It's more like home goods kind of
Yeah.
things. And then I was in there just because I didn't mind, like, filling the spot. So it was like $150 for the weekend. It was those heated huts. I think I talked about those before. So those are really comfortable. Like, I wouldn't do another outdoor show that time of year if I didn't have that heated hut.
Yeah.
Because I'm over the really cold shows much past, like, end of November. So I think I sold about 1,430 or something like that. So Saturday ended up being pretty good. $1,000 Saturday, $400 Sunday. I had some repeat customers Saturday, so they kind of made it worth it. If I didn't have those customers, it probably would have been like a $300 day and $400 day. So it would have been like a $700 or $800 weekend instead of a $1,400 weekend. So that was pretty good, and it's that time of year. So they have shows and events going on in Washington Park every week between Thanksgiving and Christmas for the most part. I think this weekend's the last weekend they'll do it, but they try to keep events going on that time of year because they have events at the music hall. Like, they had the Cincinnati Pops that does like Christmas music and stuff with the symphony and all that. So they have people around the park during the day for like going to and from that, and then there's like football going on, and people go and hang out at bars and walk around the park. There's a bunch of people walking their dogs there, so it's not like people are coming out to shop necessarily, like most of the people you see.
Right, they're just kind of out to be out.
Yeah, I would say 2/3 of the people you see are just out and about, and then 1/3 of them are coming to shop. So some people got gifts, and it was like good, but
yeah.
I think it's one of those that if you didn't have a customer base already, it was a flop of a show. Which I saw by the time Sunday rolled around and people were leaving early, which hurt me. But so yeah, that was the weekend, and I got a free weekend this weekend, so I'm just getting some. I'm trying to get the last. I think we're getting on the date for the last day to ship things through USPS for the deadline for Christmas, which is like the 16th and the 18th or something like that. So I'm trying to get some shot glasses. I just fired a kiln right before this, and we were glazing, and I think I made like 200 shot glasses in the last few weeks.
Damn.
I think I was making them in batches of 50 or something, and cranked through them and bisqued them over the weekend, and glazed a bunch in the last 2 days, and trying to get a bunch restocked, because like I restock 4 of each color like at a time, and then they're like drained pretty quickly because people buy pairs of them, or they buy sets of 4, and then it goes like pretty quick. So I tried to adjust. So I did this on my Etsy ship settings. I don't know if it helps much, but I adjusted the delivery time, so I kind of like increased the quantities of colors that I just glazed that are in the kiln right now, so that I can ship them out in the next 2 to 3 days instead of 1 to 2 days. So I was expecting people were going to buy them, and then as they came out of the kiln, I was going to be shipping them. But
yeah,
I think I'm just going to end up restocking them and then getting the last of the orders this weekend, because people are going to be like, okay, I got to like hurry up and get my last orders in. So we'll see. I hope I can ship a whole bunch of those out. It's Tuesday. People don't really buy that much early in the week, I feel like, but hopefully by the weekend people will get some gifts and stuff. But I'm selling some other stuff. Like, I did a restock at the end of last week too, that Rachel helped get photographs done and get work listed. So I just try to get some last minute things online. So I probably sold, I don't know, I think we put up like 40 pieces. I probably sold, I don't know, 5 or 6 pieces, just to, it's nice to just have some stock on there anyways. So
yeah.
So I'll have that on there through, the next month or so. And doesn't hurt anything. I wasn't pulling stock away from shows, so yeah, that's what's going on. I don't know, did I miss something? You got here a couple days ago, so we just had dinner earlier tonight, which was really good.
I got here yesterday.
Well, a couple days, including today and yesterday. What time did you get here last night, though?
Like at 9.
Oh, you did. Okay. It just seems like you've been here longer than that.
Yeah. We had a lot. We caught up on a lot of stuff.
Yes. We got some tacos tonight, so we're all full.
Hell yeah. We're fucking stuffed.
By the way, I talked about this place on talking about in Sika. I called it Ola. We realized that it's not pronounced Ola. It's Olla, but it's Oya.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm a white boy and spelled it wrong. Or said it wrong, but...
You know what?
Yeah, whatever.
You didn't know.
Yeah. We didn't know that until yesterday.
Yeah. You know.
When Rachel was talking with somebody about it and was like, hey, yeah, we're going to this place. He's like, I don't know that place. What place is that? I've never heard of that. And he's like, oh, it's over in Covington. No. Oh, you're talking about Oya?
Oh, yeah. You know what? We also say spigot instead of spigot.
Yes.
So, here we are.
Mm-hmm. So those were good. Very good.
Yeah, so good. I should have eaten half of what I got, but I ate the whole thing, so.
Have you ever got tacos there, or do you always get the fries?
No, I always get the fries. They're so good.
Oh, really? What's the meat on those, though?
You can choose. I always get... It's like piling everything that you love about Mexican food on top of fries.
What kind of fries are they, though? Are they crinkle fries?
They're crinkle cut fries.
Okay. Do you have a preference of fries?
I think that I like crinkle cut fries when there's things on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
I like all fries. But, like,
do you like the crinkle from Raising Cane's, though?
They're okay.
I feel like the if anything at Raising Cane's, the fries are
subpar at best.
Yeah, that's the thing that needs improvement.
Yeah, for sure the fries at Raising Cane's are blah. But you know what my favorite fries are? The ones that are like dipped in, like they have like flour on them and they're like really crispy.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah, those are pretty good. I'm trying to think of a place that has those that I like. I mean, I kind of think of Rallies.
Yeah, like Rallies. Yeah.
But those also have like the pepper seasoning or something on them.
Do you know whose fries are fire that you wouldn't expect? Taco Bell. Taco Bell's fries are so good.
I didn't know they had fries.
They have nacho fries and they're delicious.
Oh, like Dorito Loco thing? Or...
No.
It's like nacho seasoning?
No, it's like fries with nacho cheese.
Oh.
Ryan's not a cheese guy.
Those don't sound that good.
It sounds good to everybody else listening that likes cheese.
But I wouldn't think of like going to Taco Bell to get fries.
Well, you should, because they're delicious.
Okay. I really like shoestring fries.
I love shoestring fries.
If they get seasoning on them,
yeah.
Good seasoning, like Cajun seasoning or just some pepper and stuff. I love those, because those are always going to... I feel like those are guaranteed to be crispy.
Yeah.
And I pretty much always dip them in ketchup, but like the Freddy's fries... I'm obsessed with Freddy's, but fries there are pretty good.
Do you like Culver's?
Culver's fries or Culver's in general? I didn't really like the Butterburger thing.
You don't like the Butterburgers?
Eh.
I love Butterburgers. It wasn't
as good as I expected it to be.
Really?
Yeah. I think they're still kind of thin. Or no,
they're smash burgers.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know. There was something I didn't like about it.
Maybe it was too buttery.
Yeah. Yeah, not... I've only had it once, but not a fan the time that I had it.
They have cheese curds there, and they're so fucking good. You wouldn't love them, but like...
Do you just eat those as is, or do you dip them?
You can dip them in, like, ranch.
Okay. I don't know. I'm a shoestring, or... I like a good breakfast home fry that are like cubed.
Yeah, the cubed fries are delicious. Yeah.
Nothing that's like really thick, like wedges. I'm like,
yeah,
too thick.
Yeah.
I remember back in grade school, there was a all the parents had to like work concession stand. As like if your kid played a sport like baseball or whatever, they had to volunteer to work concession stand one of the weekends or whatever. and they had one of the oldest school, like rusty, mounted to the wall. It was like an extruder. And it was a cutter. It was a potato cutter.
Potato cutter.
And it had the grid. And
yeah.
you just put the potato in there. You just push it through, and it breaks into the fries. And they made like home fries with them.
Yum.
Fry them up. They're pretty good. But like, what are you putting through that cutter that's mounted to the wall for the last 20 years?
How much rust is in that cutter?
Yeah. So those are pretty good.
Okay, getting back to... Well, actually, I don't know.
What, the show?
I guess the show.
The show stuff?
We're not... Okay, so just so you guys know the schedule of today, we're going to do a shorter episode. We're
already at 25 minutes in.
We're going to do a short-ish episode. We are planning on, kind of like recapping the year. Doing our recap a little early. But then we are going to not do a question. We're just going to talk about Ryan's pet peeve of people leaving shows early.
Yes.
And and that's it. Okay, Ryan, tell us what happened.
That's it. Okay, so I already kind of gave a little context about the show, like the quality of the show. I paid $150 to be there for the weekend. I told you, heated huts. They offered tents for $80 for the weekend. There was one person in a tent. There was about 10 people there total. Most of us were in huts. One person was in a tent. And there's somebody on site to be like, in case you had issues.
Mm-hmm.
But there wasn't like event coordinator on site.
Right.
It was just like,
here's how you open your hut.
Yeah, a park person just to help. So, everybody kind of knew what they were doing. They kind of like checked you in the morning and then handed it over to the person that was there all day. So there wasn't a bunch of like, if you had some, like if you wanted to leave early, there's nobody there to like talk to be like, hey, like I'm thinking about leaving early. Can I do that? So there was 10 of us. There was a DJ there too, playing music all day. The show ran from 11 to 5 both days. I think most people were good to go, like there in the morning, and then a lot of people were left early for the day. Like by the time it was 4:00, I'm gonna say 3:30. By the time it was 3:30, there were 3 of us left of the 10, and then by 4:15, there were 2 of us left, including me.
This is on Sunday.
On Sunday, yeah.
On Saturday,
some people on Saturday, there were some people that left early. I would say there was maybe 2 or 3 people that left an hour to an hour and a half early on Saturday.
Okay.
So not like terrible, I guess, but. And then one of the women that had a booth did not come back the second day, so I don't know if that was just a scheduling thing or if she was like, oh, it was kind of a crappy day. She left early Saturday and then just decided not to come back Sunday.
Right.
Which I would almost rather you not come back the whole day than to come back and leave 4 hours before the event's over.
Yeah.
Or 3 hours before the event's over. So, and one of the people that was left at the end, me and one other person, the other person was the guy in the tent.
Aww.
Which is like the coldest person out there, right?
Yeah.
Because he's just,
What was he selling?
He was selling soaps.
Okay.
But he was pretty prepared. Like, I've seen him at a lot of shows. He's bundled up really well. They provide the tent, so it's not like he's got to tear down the tent and take the tent with him and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was nice. They provide the huts. They provide the tents. The tents the huts have a heater in them, so as long as you're kind of like inside the hut, you're pretty good. Like, it's got the little window that goes up so you can like see people and they can approach. Some people came inside the hut to shop. For me, I left the door open so they could shop and do that. Otherwise, they gotta like ask you to hand hand stuff over the railing and stuff. But yeah, so like the first person started tearing down and leaving at 1:30
That's wild.
for a show that ended at 5. And I think the reason I'm like you could either put it like there's different ways to go about it. Like I could say one route would be like, "Oh, well that's on the coordinator for not giving a penalty for leaving early." Like what's the penalty if you decide to leave early? You're not welcome back, or you know, they fine you, or I don't know, what other penalties are there for you're not, and basically not being welcome back is kind of the
That's
main
the biggest
reason.
one, yeah.
Yeah. I don't see many that like fine you, but
yeah,
they kind of say like, hey, you can't be packing up. Even shows that say like you sell out, even if you sell out, you can't leave early.
Yeah.
Like you have to stay the whole time. So there's no coordinator to check anything. So you could say, oh, well, it's kind of on them for not regulating it or like making sure. Or you could say, oh, well, like they decided to pack up early. It's on them to, their reputation or whatever to decide to leave early, and it looks bad on them. But I think my main thing was once somebody leaves, it gives other people less pressure to leave. Like if they're already thinking about it, they're like, oh, well, they already left. Like, what's the risk in me leaving? Because nobody said anything. It's not going to look as bad if multiple people leave. Well, look as bad, like, I think it looks worse because there's fewer people selling, but, oh, they're not going to notice because that one person left. So, like, it's understandable that other people are going to leave. So I think that's where I'm like, unless, obviously I'm not talking about the circumstance of, like, obviously leave early if there's safety concerns, if there's, like, high wind or weather or... you're the show decides that, hey, for the safety of everybody or for the risk of something happening, we're gonna like close early because there's a big risk of a storm coming, or it's already storming, or there's tents that have flipped over, or something going on.
Yeah.
Like nature that you can't plan for. But if it's just like, oh, it's a slow day, even if it's like, oh, it's really cold, I'm even like, I feel like that's not even a good enough reason to be like, oh, it's really cold. But, I mean, maybe if it's, like, windy and risky that way. But if it's just like, oh, I'm cold and I'm not selling anything, so I'm going to leave.
Did you sell anything, like, from 1 to 5?
I did. I think I sold maybe 2 or 3 things.
Okay.
So I sold something. There were a few people around. But, it wasn't much. But let's see. I'm going to look at my Sunday. So I sold something all the way up till 3 o'clock.
Okay.
All the way up until 3 o'clock. I didn't sell anything in the last 2 hours.
And I would kind of expect the last 2 hours to be kind of dead.
On a Sunday.
Like, honestly, that should be
most shows
11 to 5,
close.
11 to 3.
Yeah. Usually the second day of a show, like Saturday, Sunday, if it was that long of a show, like 11 to 5, it would close at 4. It would be like 11 to 4 on Sunday, so it's a little shorter.
Yeah.
11 o'clock already felt kind of late to start. I feel like most of those shows, especially when it's that time of year, like it's getting dark by 5.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like it should end at 4 regardless. And then it would still be slow from 3 to 4 if it ends at 4 versus like slow from 3 to 5 if it ends at 5.
Yeah.
So like I expect the last hour to be slow, and also I was kind of talking about the way the park attendees were kind of there. So they had a show at the music hall at 2 o'clock that ran for 2 hours or an hour and a half. So like, people are in the park around 1:30, like they're walking around, they're starting, you can see the way they're dressed, they're like going to the symphony or whatever there. So like they're out and about, they're around. Somebody actually came on Saturday that bought stuff before they went to the symphony and took stuff back to their car, and then they went. So like you're going to see people around that time. and then you're going to see them about 4 o'clock when it's over.
Yeah.
They're coming out, they're going back to their car, they're kind of walking around.
Yeah, it's definitely not a badly placed show for sure.
Yeah.
Because it's right next to the music hall. It's in a huge park that people walk through all the time.
Yeah, there's people that live in proximity to that go through the park because it's like a big open area to walk your dog or whatever. Like, I get it. People that are walking their dogs are probably not going to buy something and take it home, but
they might.
There was a bartender that works at the music hall, or he works at the other one, the Memorial Hall that's like right next door. I think he's a bartender there, and he came over and he bought a mug, and he was like, "Oh, I just live over here. Like, I don't need a bag or anything. I saw that y'all were doing this show, so I like came over after I just got done working."
Yeah.
And he bought a mug and then went back home. So like, it was right there. It's convenient for him. So there's a lot of people that live in that area. And then and then also there was a Bengals game that day.
Oh.
It was at 1 o'clock. But it's in proximity, so like there's a lot of people that, you know, the game got over about 4 o'clock. You know,
right,
something like that. So you got people that are going to be coming from the game, and it was, you know, if they're winning by a lot, some people are going to leave early, so they kind of come back to the park, and you know, they got the streetcar, so like people take the streetcar to get further away from the stadium or go to bars or whatever. So like there were some people that came from the game that were around the park at 4 o'clock or 4:30.
Yeah. So what do you think the incentive is to stay in a situation like that? Other than, like, the obvious, there's things around, but, like, you know...
I think I just weigh what's the benefit? What am I going to benefit by leaving early? I'm going to gain a little bit of time sitting at home instead of sitting at the park.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to get warmer quicker and maybe get home before dark. Like, I don't know, like, I'm not, because I don't take that, I don't, like, price my time and, like, you know, paying myself hourly for the time that I'm working at a show, so that I'm like, oh, well, it's costing me $40 to sit here when I could be sitting at home on the couch and not, like, paying myself to do nothing. Like,
yeah.
I think it's kind of...
Well, and I think it's for you, that's a no-brainer. I think for you and me, it's a no-brainer if you sign up for a show.
If you had kids or something, like, in a family, that it would benefit for you to have a little bit of time on a Sunday before dinner and, you know, before your kids go to bed and go to school the next day. Or, like, I can see where maybe the value proposition's a little different. But... I don't know. Are there other benefits that I'm not considering? What are the other benefits of just, like, are there mental benefits for leaving early? Like, you feel worse by staying?
Maybe, if you're not selling anything. You know, if you're not selling anything at all and you stay until 5.
Like, it's just, like, torturing you to stay longer.
Yeah, it's like I just wasted my time here. I mean, that could be it. Like... I think that you and me both are rule followers in the sense of we won't pack up early. And, I mean, I've packed up early maybe once. Nope. Yeah. No, I don't even think I have.
And early, like... And we're not talking just taking things and slowly packing up, like, 30 minutes before a show. We don't... I'm not considering that packing up early.
No.
I'm talking about, like, you're done for the day and you're putting everything, obviously...
Like, on a cart and rolling it away.
You're putting things away and you're carting it away before the day's over.
Like, I feel bad packing up 5 minutes after a show when there's one person, like, still roaming, you know? But yeah,
And depending on the show, like, some people are like, well, if I pack up early, I'm beating the traffic of all the people that are going to be packing up at the exact same time, so you're kind of sidestepping that and getting ahead of it.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, I think for me it's just more of a pride thing and an ego thing and a reputation thing. I don't want to be known as the person that did that.
Right.
Whether it's from... the organizer standpoint, I don't want them to give it any reason not to say, like, oh, well, like, I sold okay at that show and I... Like, would would I do it if I plan to never come back to that show ever again? Potentially, but like, I'm in a state where I'm not gonna decide to say, hey, am I guaranteeing that I'm never going to come back to the show again?
Right.
I can't say that I'm never gonna want to come back, or have, like, there could be a circumstance where scheduling comes up, or like I need a show in this weekend and something else canceled or something, and it's an opportunity, and they ask me, and it's on the table, but you never know. Like, you don't know, that organizer could leave their position and go to some other show and run some other show that you want to be a part of, and they remember that you left, or I feel like it's more of a reputation thing for me. I think it's like just professionalism to stay, because I don't care if you're selling nothing. Like, you paid and you committed to being there, so it's your responsibility to be there.
Yeah. Do you feel like the people that packed up, were they like serious vendors, or were they just kind of like
not doing it full time, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they were. See, I didn't talk to all of them. I talked to a few of them just from who came over. I'm one of those that like does the show and doesn't really leave my booth at all the whole day. So
yeah.
So I didn't like mingle too much, but I don't think they were. The one that stayed to the very end, I think he does do it full time.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe the other one that was next to me that stayed a little longer possibly did it full time. I think it was side businesses, side hustles for most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think that has something maybe to do with it too. Like, they don't have to be there, maybe. And they're like, well, fuck this.
I just gave it, I gave it a go, and,
yeah.
Being here Saturday and half of a day Sunday is enough.
Yeah, maybe.
Is enough for me.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they don't do a lot of 2-day shows, or...
Yeah, and they just... Or maybe they don't need the money.
Yeah. Is there a show... Is it, like... Is, like, the type of show part of... I'm trying to think, like, is there a... I don't know what I'm trying to ask. Is there a type of show that makes you more comfortable to do that?
Well, I think this is that show.
Or is it your peers that make it more comfortable to leave early?
I think this is that kind of show that makes it more comfortable to do that, because it's not really a show. It's just like people showing up and selling in these booths, Mm-hmm. It's like...
just kind of like in addition to the park. It's not...
Right, it's like a free-for-all, Yeah. So if they were contained in some walls, if they had fences around the area, if there was more structure, that, like, I think that makes people refrain from packing up early.
What do you mean?
Like
if you were in a show where you didn't have a tent, but you rented a, like, in the...
No, I'm talking about, like Berea, they have fucking fences all around it, so like, where the show is contained.
Oh, okay.
And...
I mean, that's a ticketed show, too.
Right.
I wouldn't think you would... Would a ticketed show make a difference?
Or there's an entrance, or... Yeah,
I see. It's kind of like... It's sort of like flea market-ish.
Yeah.
But I feel like that downgrades it, but it's like... People are going to show up that show up. It's not... Like,
right.
They don't have a curated list of people that they're documenting on a site that says, here's who's going to be there, make sure you're there to see these people.
Right.
It's like, I'm going to be there and I'm going to advertise to my people, but for me, it's just like a temporary, like, place for people to find me, but they're not coming...
It's like a little pop-up. It's not...
It's a pop... Yeah,
it's a pop-up.
It's a pop-up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pop-up that happens to be like 2 days long. It's not just, 3 or 4 hours like typical pop-up might be, or whatever. That's a good comparison of pop-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little more than that because you pay $150 to be there, but
Yeah.
for the pop-up you probably typically pay like $20-$30 or
Yeah, depending.
something like that. Okay. Does it... I think I mentioned this before about like what about the customer standpoint? Like, what do you think goes through a customer's mind when they see people leaving early and empty booths? If they're like, the huts are permanent, like it's not like a tent where
Right.
the tent is up and then they leave and the tent's down and there's no resemblance that there was somebody there before.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of empty spaces. So the huts are just empty. They're closed. There's nobody there. From a customer standpoint, it seems like a weird experience. They're like, well, I was thinking this the other day. I was like, to me, it seems like a customer would walk through there and be like, well, I feel like I wasted my time coming through here, coming to this. Like, I guess if they came for the show. But if they're just walking through, they might be like, well, this is kind of a bummer. Or like,
Yeah.
if there's...
Would it be weirder to
nobody
have...
there.
Okay, would it be weirder to have 10 booths, like huts, and only one person in it? Or just one freestanding tent?
Yeah, I feel like a freestanding tent would be kind of shady. Because you're like,
Yeah.
is this dude, like, did he just
Just-
pop up a tent in
Yeah.
the park and just sell?
Is he
today?
just hustling? Like...
Yeah. Well, I think the huts give a sense of credibility because
Yeah.
they know you can't just like open a hut. Like, you've got to work with somebody to
Mm-hmm.
get the hut. So in that way, it like makes it a little more formal. But yeah, the single tent would be kind of weird. But it's, I don't know. I think what about like the DJ and stuff? Like, there's a DJ there that's playing for the area.
Was the DJ playing till 5?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or like, 4:45. I think
Yeah.
he played till 4:45. But he just kind of like set it and forget it,
Yeah.
kind of thing. But I really enjoyed it. I actually went up to him at the end and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, your music, I really enjoyed it the whole weekend, so thanks for being here. And he was appreciative and stuff. Because he's got to stand up there in the cold, like, up on the gazebo, so like he's getting all the wind and everything.
Yeah.
He had one of those like fancy heaters and stuff that like is, I don't know if it's gas powered or whatever, but it like blows. I think it's propane powered or something.
Was it a heat cannon?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
It's the...
Yeah, the round one?
Yeah, it's probably like 10 inches across. And
A heat
you can hear
cannon.
it blowing.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's just gas fired and...
It is gas fired. My friend just got one. He's currently obsessed with it.
Nice. Yeah, so, he's got to go through... Like, he can't pack up early. I mean, he could pack up early, but...
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of setting the tone for it by having the music the whole time. It kind of... I feel like it gives it more of a feeling of a show or an event by having a DJ there with other things. But, I don't know. It was just weird. Like, and the only thing I could do was, I try to be pretty available. I get it if it's a slow day, like I'm doing stuff to try to, use my time up so it's doesn't feel like I'm just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, and I'm not just sitting there on my phone just looking at my phone the whole time, because who likes to walk up to somebody that's looking at their phone? But anytime there was somebody walking by, I was like writing thank you notes for online orders and planning my week a little bit and stuff. But whenever somebody did walk by, like, I gave them a smile. I treated them just like I would anybody else at any other time of day, even though it was slow, and just tried to like acknowledge them. And then, I wasn't, like, butthurt when they walked by, because, like I was saying, like, 2/3 of the people that are walking by aren't going to stop at your booth or aren't going to buy something. So, I just engage them as best as I can and, like, give them a, hey, how's it going? And if they come and see the booth, they talk to me. I would say those buyers were generally less, like, educated on my stuff, because they were like, oh, you make all this? Like, I would get more of those comments this weekend. So yeah, it was just a filler show. So I was happy with the sales. I wouldn't have been doing anything else at home I probably been in the studio or something. So,
Right.
you know, it was fine. But I think it helps that it was outdoors for people that were leaving because you can kind of like just scoot out of there and not be seen.
Right. If it was inside, you have so much more of like obstacles.
Yeah, when you gotta like load up carts and roll through carts through crowds or people, and you gotta be like, "Excuse me, sorry," and it's like way more obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. All right, we're 50 minutes in.
That was all you, boo.
Holy shit. All right. Year's just about over. We have to talk about something else, though.
Do we?
Do we?
Do we?
I think so.
Well, we first should talk about your biggest purchase of the year.
Yes.
That happened in March.
Happened in March at Encika. That would be my new L&L kiln.
Yes.
I don't know how many times. I think I fired it about. Oh, I forgot about the decal firings. I probably fired about 10 or 12 times so far.
Nice.
Bisque, decal, glaze. The one thing I've been trying to do is keep it a little nicer. So I've been intentionally not firing any pieces or very minimal pieces that are waxed in there for now. So I'm trying to, because I'm like one of those, like, I don't know how much wax affects the kiln, but like I'm trying to like take care of it more. So I'm trying to be really careful with the shelves, putting them in there so I'm not bumping stuff and posts and all that stuff. So it's been good.
Well, if you did like break a thermocouple or something, you could always just head over to hotkilns.com and look at their website because they've got like the best, the most comprehensive website with all of the error codes you ever need.
Error codes. They talk about the kiln venting, hooking it up, the, element replacement, thermocouple replacement.
I remember back in the day when there wasn't
controller.
Yeah, I remember back in the day when there wasn't LNL hotkilns.com and I'd be like, Bartlett controller, error 7. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, I think I probably have to dig up my old instruction manual from the kiln I got, which I may or may not have, and then you'd have to go find it on their website somewhere that's probably scanned in from a computer. And
yeah, it's a PDF for sure, 100% it is. Yeah. I know. Because I've had to look at it multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, if you need to go find out anything about your kiln, whether you have an L&L or not.
Honestly, truly.
Hotkilns.com.
Hotkilns.com.
Yep. All right.
Let's do, okay, what time is it?
11:45.
Holy fucking shit, Ryan. You talked for like 45 minutes about...
No, we started talking at 25 minutes in about the thing.
Okay.
We talked for 25 minutes about it.
Okay.
30 minutes, maybe.
Sure. Okay.
These cats are about to fight.
Get at it, girls.
Marble's sitting on my lap. She's all curled up. All right, what are we talking about? We're talking about our year.
But quickly.
So, did you have high level goals for the year that you were or like big things that you were trying to get done?
I think that this year
or prioritize.
This year I was just trying. If I recall, I knew that it was going to be like a strange year just because I was in the van and I didn't really know what was going to happen. And
this was the first full year you lived in the van?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I feel like I was like, I just want to survive. And guess what? I did. I will survive. For as long as I know how to love. Anyway, I did survive. I think I actually...
And you still had the studio, so the studio is still a space that you have in Indianapolis.
Yes.
But you were on the road quite a bit this year.
Yeah, I was in Indy for 4 months total, I think. And then elsewhere for
The rest of it?
the rest of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. But I feel like I accomplished my goal of surviving. And looking at my stats for the year, actually, I did quite well.
Did you expect to spend your time making money the way that you had to make money this year? Or did you plan for more or less of different things? Because I feel like you had a pretty good cross-section of different ways of making money this year.
Yeah. Yeah, I did some online stuff, and then I got into a little bit of wholesale, and then I did a lot of shows, I feel like. Well, I did a fair amount of shows.
Yeah. I think you did more shows this year than last year, though, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel good about... Like, I think in the moment I was like, God damn it, this sucks. I thought I didn't do as well, but I did pretty okay. Square says that I made $5,000 less than I did last year, but I did a lot more in, like, fair and...
And Square being your online sales and your show sales?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I guess you would handle, like, wholesale, or was wholesale entirely in fair?
Fair, yeah, wholesale was, like, I think all in fair. Okay. And then I get stuff from Instagram and Facebook and Patreon, which is, like, small. Every one of them's like $30, but $30 every month adds up, you know.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
I mean, it's still money.
I mean, you make a little bit from the podcast and stuff too, so
yeah, and I make
that probably helps.
150. Yeah, we both make a fair amount from the podcast. Not a ton, but we make a pocket change amount.
We make some, and then we'll make goals for next year of what we want to do.
Yeah.
Okay, so the shows and the traveling, did you feel like you traveled... Because you had a lot of different experiences throughout the year with who you saw and the time you spent in different places, and you were also, like, building in a show schedule along those trips and things. So, like, do you think you would like to travel as much, more, less?
I'd like to travel less.
Less than,
next year.
Okay. Less as in less days on the road driving, or just less time away from...
Less days on the road driving.
Okay.
I'd still like to spend, like, a fair amount of time, like, up in northern Indiana with the Beals. And...
I feel like you liked Michigan a lot.
And Michigan. But I just would like to go one place and kind of, like, stay put. Like, it'd be fun to go to, like, Marquette and, like, sell at the farmers markets. You know?
Like, make that a summer thing or something.
Yeah.
And you just stay there for...
Yeah.
And then if you were there, you probably would be within proximity of Heidi and the Beals and...
Right, wait, that's a little bit farther up, but yes.
Okay.
But yeah, like, or yeah, wherever I choose to be, it'd be nice to, you know, be somewhere where I could, like, hit up, like, be at a farmer's market that's a tourist farmer's market or whatever like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're going to be in Utah for, like, 3 months or 4, like...
Yeah.
Close to...
The goal this year...
3 months or 3.5 months, so
I think
that's a good...
Yeah, the goal this next year is to really hone in on... I'd like to get into more museums for the fancy cups. That'd be cool. Mm-hmm. Museum shops.
How do you do that without just somebody stumbling onto you at a show?
You have to email them.
Okay. They probably have an application process just like shows.
Or you just email them. You say, hey, I have these pots. They'd be great in your shop. Here. Yeah. Here's a picture.
Yeah, maybe you could email the Speed Art Museum, which is also in Louisville.
I could.
That is, and be like, hey, I'm at the KMAC. Mm-hmm. And then that would give you some credibility.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's one in Is there one in Indianapolis or Bloomington or something?
Newfields is up there, but I've never been there.
Probably pretty fancy, right?
Yeah. I'd love to message Seattle Art Museum.
There you go.
Yeah, so I'd like to get more into like the high end stuff this year.
Why so?
Why? Because I feel
you
like
think the clientele is what you need for that
Yeah.
that type of work?
Yeah.
And then it's worth it for you to for the price that you're going to get for it?
Yeah. I still want to sell the earrings and stuff. And
Is that because you just is it partially the price that you just want it to move as well as not having to physically carry it and lug it around and stuff for shows?
I guess I just want people to appreciate it a little bit more, and I am sick of going to shows and people being like, wow, these are great. Wow, these are really expensive. You know?
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was thinking the last few months and year, I was like, Becca needs to get on consignment more, because the more your stuff is in places where people can see it and buy it, you don't have to lug it around and transport it. And honestly, I feel like you're okay with the price cut and giving up.
Oh, I'm fine with the price cut.
Giving up money if it means that it's gonna move a little bit, even if it's slow.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can you got to figure out how to get checks to you and stuff like that.
That's easy.
But you can get that figured out.
Yeah, Brandon will cash my checks. But yeah, I think consignment's best for me too. And like I'm doing that consignment Emerita's friend. And yeah, she sold like $60 of my stuff, so.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, if I had 10 consignment shops that gave me like $200 a month, I'd be fucking set.
Yeah. 200 a month. You mean between all of them?
No.
Per consignment shop? I don't even get $200 a month for consignment shops.
I got $60 a month at the other one.
I've got my stuff in probably 8 shops or something. But you also have different price items than I do, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So are you going to work with Rachel on getting a list of places or something, or just work on making a list and just contacting them?
Yeah, I think I'm going to work on making a list. I might try to talk to one of my friends and ask if I can steal some of her clients.
Oh, okay. I mean, you could probably just put it on Instagram too. Like, hey, are there shops that you are in your city that are really cool that would fit my... Like, maybe you'll get some recommendations there that will shorten your list and make it easy.
Right, and Andrew's going to help me with my fare.
Okay.
Okay, but before my phone dies, I wanted to tell you what my sales have been this year.
If you need a charge, you can charge it with that.
What? So, according to Hurdler, I've made $40,576 this year, which is not bad.
Is that on par with last year? Do you pretty much try to make what you did the previous year? Is that kind of how you sort of gauge it?
Last year was 37.
Okay, so you made a little more.
Yeah.
And I would guess your expenses were less, or maybe they were comparable. When did you officially start? Like, you didn't have this was your first full year on the road with the van and not an apartment rent.
Last year my expenses were higher just because I did them a little bit different. Last year my expenses were $36,000, but that's not how it actually is. But this year my expenses are $13,000.
Okay.
So, or something like that. I'll have to do my taxes, but
yeah. Okay. So selling a little bit more. Did you feel like you had to, like, if you could remember back, do you feel like you had to work harder this year than the last year?
I worked so little this year. I feel like I didn't work at all.
What do you mean when you say didn't work at all? Like, what is that realistically?
I feel like, there was a couple times where I pulled in pretty significant day-long treks of working, and in April when I came back to the studio, I made all the bisqueware. I made all of the fancy cups for the year,
Within what, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks?
Yeah, it was like a month.
A month, okay.
And me making all of those in one batch made it feel like I literally did no work this whole year. Because
they were just blank canvases, and then you get to take little pockets of time to finish.
Right, and then like I went to
them.
Heidi's house or Heidi's studio and spent like 3 days just like busting them out. I probably spent like, there's probably 5 times this year or maybe 6 times this year that I like took 30 cups and just like fucking went at it.
Mm-hmm.
But that was pretty much it. And I just consistently did the earrings, like small amounts of the earrings every time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I feel like, I mean, like when I was in Marquette, I did fucking nothing that whole time. I didn't even work.
Oh, at Marquette is that
in
Julianne?
Michigan?
Julianne's?
Yeah, like before Julian's. But like when I was in Michigan, I barely worked.
Oh, that was when you were kind of like hanging out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I feel like this year has been like a fucking snooze fest compared to most of the years that I've
gosh.
been doing stuff.
Do you think So, like, how do you feel about the fidget stones? I feel like there's potential there, but it seems like it could be, you're kind of over it. Are you over it, or are they
I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm over it, but they're on Etsy. They sell on Etsy, like, periodically.
They sell as batches of 5, right? That's how you have them listed?
No, you can buy them single, too.
Oh, okay.
But, like, yeah, they're, like, periodically
So they sell,
selling.
like, what, once a week or something? You sell some?
Yeah, once a week, once every 2 weeks. Like,
Okay.
nothing crazy, but, like, I don't mind, you know?
I think that's one of those things that, like, you talk about consignment. Like, I feel like there's a unique batch of
I think they need to be
places that you can
$5 instead of $10. Like, I think they're too expensive.
I've seen some that you've made more recently. I think Zipporah just got some that were super simple that only had, like, 10 dots on them.
Yeah.
Where the first batch that you were making maybe had, like, 30 dots on them.
Yeah, I do different ones. I do, like...
And those, like... I could see those as $5 versus like 30 dots, and there's a whole bunch of colors. And
Well, it depends too, like the different colors. It's not, that doesn't really matter to me, like that. There's no extra work involved in that, really. But like the 10 dots feels different than the 30 dots, you know. So,
yeah, I think there's like a unique. I mean, I can just see some random places that only want the fidget stones and don't care about your other stuff. Don't care about earrings or whatever, and they just have little fidget stones in a bowl on a countertop.
Yeah.
And people just pick through them and they're like, "Oh my god, I fucking love these."
Yeah.
But I'm like,
I think they need to be $5 instead of 10.
Okay. Could you make money at $5 if they were wholesaled?
I think so.
Okay.
Just because of the amount of time that they're just tumbling and I don't have to touch them.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And if that, like, do you need... I think we talked about this before, but do you need the dots, or are there ones that you could, like...
You can sell just smooth ones.
Yeah, just smooth ones that are just, like, rocks, and maybe you I don't know if the clays are enough, and you just use different clays, and maybe there's...
Yeah.
That gives you a little different texture based on the clay body versus...
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll see.
I'm
not going to stop.
Potential there.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I don't remember the last time you made them. Like, it was the last time you made them when you made them here, and those are the ones you're still coasting
Well,
on?
I have so many at home, like in the studio.
Oh, really?
I probably have like 150 to 200 in the studio.
Okay.
So.
Because, I mean, that seems like one of those things that, kind of like you did with the Bisqueware, and you just cranked out and made them in a month. Like, if you spent the whole month making fidget stones, you probably have like 1,000 fidget stones.
Yeah.
And that could, you could coast with that.
Yeah, for sure.
But.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw potential in that, and I was like, I hope she sticks with this a little bit.
Yeah, I haven't given up on it. It's
just finding the right...
Yeah, I think that more is just... I'm not searching for something, but I'm not giving up on it. I'm just kind of like waiting and nudging until something finds its place. Yeah.
Because it seems like something that you have... Because you have to, like, market it enough that people know that you do it. Because maybe you marketed it, like, 3 months ago, but nobody knows that you still do them,
Yeah.
and you don't have them at shows. So I'm like,
Sometimes I take them to shows. It depends on the show.
or like, you have them on Etsy. It kind of reminds me of, if somebody relies on Etsy sales, but they don't market themselves that they sell that thing on Etsy because the people that are on their feed like don't really buy from them in that aspect.
Yeah.
The like Etsy customers buy from them, so they just don't market it. It's like, you're getting Etsy customers that just buy the fidget stones, but you don't really market it to your customers, or to like the people that follow you on social. And I just also think there's like a bunch of real ideas for Instagram that could get some spark and get people interested in them.
Yeah.
Even just for the satisfying nature of like the making them and the process and like people unboxing them and feeling them. Like that would be an easy marketing thing, but
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see.
What about you?
All right, let's see. All right, made that big purchase. Obviously, shows were still a priority this year. I was comparing the shows. It looks like I did 19 shows in 2022. This year I did 22. So pretty comparable. I feel like I settled on a good chunk of shows. I've been doing this the last couple of years, but I feel like I've got a good chunk that are reliable and consistent, and I'm just doing like a little bit better at them. I'm kind of fine-tuning them and making them slightly better. Getting better at talking to people, selling, getting those repeat buyers at shows like, the Woodland show, like that was my best show of the year. Like $7,200 at that show. Back in August, it was like perfect weather. It was like the right Venn diagram of things to go right. I had the right inventory. I had the right items on tables. I just feel like it all went right for that one. And then I tried some new ones like the Penrod show. That was good to try out. I would like to do that again next year.
Mm-hmm.
That was in Indianapolis. I kind of was trying to spread myself a little bit outside of the ones I'd done regularly, like the Lexington and Berea and obviously Cincinnati. I wanted to try some in Indianapolis, so I did that one. And did I do another? I mean, Madison, Indiana, so that's in Indiana. But the Penrod one gave me like a foot into Indianapolis, and I'd like to maybe try another Indianapolis one in 2024. I think it was
Broad Ripple would be good.
Broad Ripple or Talbot.
Talbot Street Market.
I think Talbot's in the fall, right? And Broad Ripple's in May, I believe.
Yeah.
Or maybe Talbot's in the summer, like July or something.
Yeah.
Or June. I can't remember. But I'd like to do a second show in Indianapolis so that I can get, I've heard that those 3 are kind of the big shows there. So maybe I'll try to do a couple in Indianapolis, keep a lot of the regular ones that I do. And then, stick with what works for the shows. So obviously I did a few more like little ones here and there at the end of the year this year, but those were just kind of filler because I was trying to, get that soda kiln going, so I didn't want heavy stress that time of year. Let's see. Money. Let's see. Okay, I broke down the sales between online sales, show sales. Online sales this year, 23,000 so far.
Nice.
I think that's kind of estimating based on including December. I can't remember what it was last year, and then the show sales are going to be about 42,000.
Nice.
And the show sales make up about half of my income. So, it looks like 2022 I had 84,000 in sales, like revenue for the whole year of everything. So that's like, the shows, the consignment, online, teaching, wholesale. And I think right now I'm at 83.
Okay.
But we're still midway through December. I'm still waiting on like a check for the Mug Club.
Right.
I got a small wholesale order that I'm fulfilling. I got the online orders that I've been doing this month that will tally up, and we'll see where they end up for the end of the year.
So we're hoping for 90.
So hopefully I'll hit about 90.
Yay!
Yeah. I mean, I think it's I don't know if it's just a pride thing, but I think I'll feel really good once I get to that 100K.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I think it will easily happen next year. It's just hard to I don't know. I'm trying to think of what I did last year and the differences of like how hard I had to work or like what things I had to do to make that happen.
Yeah.
I just feel like I get lost in just doing more and more and just working harder. But also, I feel like when I get to the end of the year, I can like analyze what's working and what's not working. Whether it's like certain shops are not making that much revenue or whatever. So I can like, maybe I want to get out of that shop, or, oh, the shop did really well. Like, I should take more stuff to that shop on a regular basis so that I can try to get more sales going. Or, you know, these wholesalers did really well. Okay, maybe I should reach out to them more frequently to see if I can help fulfill their orders more so they don't have to come to me and I can reach out to them. And obviously the Mug Club was a huge thing this year. That was I couldn't have planned for that at the beginning of the year. I didn't really have intentions to do a Mug Club this year, but when they came and approached me in July, I was like, you know, I'd always wanted to do this, and there's not other breweries knocking down my door to try this out, so...
Right.
And, you know, obviously I could reach out to breweries and say, hey, I'm a local artist, this is what I do, and this is what I want to do, and, you know, it's a little harder sell for that, I think, to approach places, and they're either, like, they don't know what's involved in Mug Clubs and how much it's going to cost up front to actually fund it, versus places that already do Mug Clubs and they either already have an artist or, you know, maybe they've had negative experiences or it wasn't worth it for them. But if there's businesses that already do it and it's regular and they might already have somebody that they work with, or they're really being particular about what they want. So, you know, they reached out. I was open to it. I'd always wanted to do a Mug Club, so it's kind of like one of those pride things to check off the list. And that was a big chunk. I think I said what this was, but it was a $6,000 order for that, so pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
You know what? I was going to say something that I was pretty proud of myself this year for. Last year, or this year, I guess, in the beginning when I was doing my taxes, I owed like $4,000, and I ended up having to put it on my credit card, I think. And
did you pay? You're talking about last year?
Yeah.
Did you have to pay quarterly estimated payments or anything?
No, but I paid it in full, so I didn't have to pay a penalty. So.
Okay. Is that state to state? They decide, or I think we were saying before. It depends on how much income and profit you make, whether you have to pay the estimated or not.
Well, and that's kind of what I was about to say, is that this year I started saving on Square 20% of my income, and I've made my estimated payments like...
So any money that goes through the Square account, whether it's online orders or...
Right.
Does that include like Etsy orders and stuff like that?
Not Etsy.
It doesn't? Okay.
But any like Square orders, it goes through Square and then it takes out 20%. And I've had literally no stress as far as taxes are concerned this year.
Because you know there's already a pot of money that you're not spending. It's just sitting there. It's
at like $4,000 right now. And I put in a profit one too that was 5%. And then I also put in one that's for my business insurance. So it goes up to like $600. And then it stops at $600. But
so what percentage total of that is allocated to those different pots? Is that like 30% of your income then?
20% to 20% to the tax bracket one, and then 5% to profit.
So it's 25, and
then the other one's just $600.
So it's just a flat.
It's 3%.
It's just a pot. It's just a $600 pot, and that's all it maxes out at, or
it maxes out at $600, but it's 3% until it hits 6% or $600.
Okay, why 600?
Because that's how much my business insurance is.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
I just didn't want to have to...
You're just trying to allocate it so it's taken care of quickly.
Yeah, because I know that I'll have to pay it next year, and so I figured I might as well just save it up easily.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Square under the Balance tab has savings accounts that you can allocate.
Is that a free feature?
It's a free feature, and it's high yield savings too. It's like a 1%. I mean, you're at least
1% is high yield.
No, but it's higher than 0. It's at least yielding 1%, but like, really, it's fantastic. If you're not good at money, it's the best feature you could do. Seriously, is to
How do
take
you
out
actually
20%.
access it? You just go into Square and you have to. I'm guessing you have to like deposit that money or withdraw the money into your account.
Okay.
When you want to access it.
Yeah. So okay, it's under balance. When you, instead of going to see your reports, you go to see balance under settings, I think, or more. It's under more. And then you scroll all the way to the bottom and you can set up the accounts, and then it asks you how much money you want to allocate towards that. And so I said, like I put 20%, blah, blah, blah. And then it takes out that money before it gets deposited into your account. So like, if I make $600 at a show, whatever, my balance usually ends up being like $450.
Okay.
Like, it would only deposit $450 into my actual account.
So technically, Square not owns, but
it's in
Square is holding that money.
It's withholding it, and I'm sure they invest
insure it.
It's
insured or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff. Okay. And
then, if I want to access it, I can go into it, and then take out the money.
Because
so
it's
like,
just like you said it's a high yield savings or whatever.
Or mid yield or any yield savings, but. Yeah, so, and it's really easy to take the money out, but what's nice about it is that it's pretty much always, like, you're not seeing it every day, so you don't know it's there, you know? Like, I mean, it's there, but it's like...
It's kind of like, it kind of sounds like an Acorns account, sort of.
Yeah.
It's already allocating money, and it's investing it slowly but surely, and it's money that you're not really thinking about if it's taken out before you...
Right, like, you don't even, notice it, Yeah. And so,
the best way to save money anyways, like, save it before you...
Yeah, exactly.
Account, yeah.
And, like, honestly, I probably, this hurdler thing, I probably actually made $45,000 this year because
it hasn't hit that account.
It hasn't hit that account. So, yeah. It's pretty cool. And I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the profit money.
This is the first time you've used it? The first year you've used it?
Mm-hmm. But
what were you intending the profit for? Was that just a way for you to have... Is that like fun money or is that business money? Because it all becomes your money at the end anyways.
No, it's fun money. Like when I was reading Profit First, the book, it's like you should have a savings account that's just for profit. You should... And like, it's just your fucking money.
Is that where you came up with 5%?
Yeah. I figured a small percentage. I think I'll probably bump it up to 10% next year.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so... But anyway...
Do you have thoughts? Are you gonna... Do you know how much is in there?
Yeah, it's like... Let's see. And I haven't put in my... I mean, the next time we put in our quarterly taxes, it's like January 15th, so I haven't put that in yet, but... So I have $4,101, and I have... In the general savings, which is the 20% when I have $2,467. In the profit, I have $1,298. And then in insurance, I have...
$1,200 in your profit, so you...
$1,300, technically.
That's a good chunk.
I know. I was like, I could
you
put
would
it...
use it for fun money, so would you use it for something for the van, or like...
That's what I was thinking. I could put it towards the van.
Because you were trying to do like a little van fund at the end of the year.
Yeah, and I have $5,000 in another account that I could use on the van. I'm almost to $10,000. Not really. I'm almost to $7,000.
I was gonna say $5,000 and $1,300 is...
Yeah, but if I got $3,000 more, I'd be at $10,000, and I could potentially just build the van out the way I want to. I think I could do it for 10.
Okay. Part of the reason for us to work on podcast stuff, so you help your monthly income.
Yeah.
Next year.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. If you've never done that before, I would recommend setting it up for this year because it will likely change your life and change your stress levels, especially when it comes to tax time. Even if you're paying taxes at the end of the year, just saving that 20% and leaving it in there and paying it at the end of the year.
And you're still, like, all that money is still...
It's still yours.
It's yours, but it's also, like... You also have it structured where you have a business account that's dedicated for your own business stuff. That's where you pay for your, like, expenses out of it.
Yeah.
But, like, you're also... But you also take money to pay yourself out of your business account once it already goes into those buckets. Like, it goes in those buckets first.
Yeah.
And then you pay yourself.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
it kind of, I would guess it probably hustles you a little bit because the only number you're seeing in your account is...
Post that, yeah.
Yeah. You know, after you've already allocated it for the other things that you
right.
have to do anyway, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I, earlier this year, I save a bunch of money, so...
No.
So my fun money was investing in a bunch of CDs for the business.
Can you please explain what a CD is for?
CD is a certificate of deposit, which is just a way to, typically it's I can't remember exactly. I'll give you the gist of what it does. You basically allocate, let's say typically it's $1,000. So you allocate $1,000 into this, and I think it's loaned. It's like kind of like bonds sort of, but like it's given to the bank with a promise that when it hits its maturity date, which is typically in 3 month, 6 month, 9 month, or 12-month increments, I think. Typically it's 12 months. So I put the $1,000 in, and then in 12 months it tells you when you sign up for it what the yield is. So the yield is typically, right now I think the yield was about 4%.
Okay.
So I put $1,000 in there, and then at maturity I make 4% on it.
So $40.
Yeah. If that's right, 1,000 times 4%.
Yeah.
Times 1.04. $40.
Yeah.
But the money sitting in the bank is not going to make any money, or a savings account like we were talking about is like 0.03%. Not going to make any.
Yeah, so it's technically like a high yield savings.
It's meant to keep up with inflation, essentially.
Yeah.
Is what that is, and that's the interest rate is based on what interest rates are.
Okay.
So like right now, interest rates are going up and stuff. So like CD interest rates are going up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Where they were like a year or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, I want to allocate some money to these because otherwise it's just going to sit in my savings account and I'm not going to spend it.
Right.
So I basically just took a whole bunch of money and invested it into CDs. And when I said a whole bunch, I mean like 10 grand. Like I put 10 grand in CDs.
Okay.
So that I don't use it. The thing is, you can't take that money out.
Right,
so,
right.
Like,
It's
don't
stuck.
put money in there.
It's so that the bank can use it, and if the bank ever dies, so does that money.
I think it might be. I think it's still insured though, or something. But basically, I get the money back plus the interest.
Yeah.
But typically, what you would do is you would reinvest it. So you would take the $1,040 and you would reinvest it on the same maturity schedule.
Right.
So it would
compounds.
reinvest for another 12 months at the new interest rate. So if interest rates went up, you would get a new interest rate for that 12 months.
Okay.
And then if you did and then there's other ways that you can do it where you do like a ladder. So you would do multiple CDs. So you would have a CD that's like a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 9 month or something. And then they would mature kind of staggered so that you would continue to like roll them. Mm-hmm. And then they would like pick up new interest rates as the one matures, and you would kind of like... Yeah. It's just kind of a way to like compound the interest as well as keep investing. But when they hit maturity, you can also say like, I don't want to reinvest this. I want
right.
I want to take my money out.
Yeah.
Because you need that money, or, you know, maybe you're saving maybe you're planning to buy a house in like next year, and you wanted to like grow a little bit of money, but you don't want to like just leave it in a savings account.
Yeah.
But you don't plan to like use it.
I have a question.
So you just invest it.
This is not really related.
Not really invest it, but you buy a CD to.
This is not really related, but it's kind of related, not really. So like, in your opinion, like what would Ryan Durbin do? Oh my God, we should have a segment called that.
What would Ryan Durbin do?
What would RD do? WWRD do. WWRDD. Okay? What would Ryan Durbin do? So on my car loan, I have $34,000 left, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Out of a $53,000 loan. And
$34,000 out of a $53,000 loan. Okay.
which I feel like is pretty good for 1 year.
What's your interest rate?
My interest rate is, let me pull it up. I think it's 7.
7%. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty freaking high. Way to buy a car right at the top of that one, Becca.
Fuck. Yeah.
Okay, 35,700. So we'll say 36.
Yeah, that's fine. 36,000.
36,000 and
It started at you pay off the lot was 50 grand, but you paid a down payment.
Yeah.
Okay. How much?
Off the lot was 49.
49, including what you already paid for it.
Yeah, like I think I paid a
payment
$3,500 down payment.
Okay.
So it's
so 49. So you've already paid 12,000 of it.
I've already paid 13,800.
13,000 in a year.
In a year.
You've had it for a year, or you've had it
year and 2 months.
Okay.
So
that's pretty good.
Thanks.
It seems pretty good.
I pay about $1,200 a month.
Yeah. What's the actual mortgage payment? What's the actual car
basically, $842.
Okay.
And I pay.
You pay $400 over.
Yeah, I pay $300 a month or $300 a week. So if there's 4 weeks, then I pay $1,200.
Okay. So your question?
My question is, yeah, because my principal that I've paid is 13 and the interest has been $3,000. So, my question is, if I have, let's say just a base $10,000, my interest rate was 6.7. Let's say I have 10 grand. Okay. My loan term is 73 months on this bugger. Okay. Clearly that's
based on your current schedule?
No, that's just like what it was.
Okay.
They gave me a 73-month loan. Which obviously I'm going to get it done in much faster than that. But would you, like if I had 10 grand in cash, okay? And I could build out said van, right? Like put it towards building out the van or put that towards paying off the van. What would Ryan Durbin do?
I think it's a satisfaction enjoyment thing, because if you spent $10,000 in the van and you wrecked the van the next day,
yeah,
I mean, are you like, as well as like the other thing would be, if you put $10,000 in the van, are you going to notice any difference in? Are you going to feel better about it because you paid $10,000 toward it to like pay your loan down? Does that make you feel better, or does it give you more security? Does it free up that money to go elsewhere?
Right.
I mean, it's one of those things where you don't really feel the impact of the money gained until you pay it off.
Right.
Because I would suspect you're not going to lower that $1,200 a month if you just drop 10 grand on it.
Absolutely not.
You're going to keep you're going to keep that going so that you can keep the momentum.
For sure.
The main thing is you're going to chop your principal down so the interest is not going to grow as quickly.
Yeah.
And you're hitting the interest like every month, and then you're also knocking the principal down, which is like what you want to be doing. So like,
but it's like one of those things, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to be paying this
because it's not gaining value by you investing $10,000 into the van,
right?
Right? It's already like it's not. Is it worth as much money now as you have? I'm trying to think of the right way to do it.
Like the resale
how
value?
much is it worth right now?
Oh, probably 45 at least.
Okay. but you investing in building out the van, like that doesn't up the resale value,
Yeah,
right?
it does. It
Oh,
does,
it does?
for sure. Yeah, it does. It would up the resale value significantly because then you can sell it.
Really? How do they price that though?
I don't know, but
like
I
if
think
you're doing DIY in there, like how do they I mean, obviously you can put the seat back in, but like
yeah. But I mean, like, I'm not selling it though. I'm not gonna sell it.
yeah, I think it's like an enjoyment. It's a value enjoyment kind of a question. Like, are you gonna enjoy the van more
If you know you owe less.
investing $10,000 into it to like would it significantly increase your happiness and enjoyment with the van, or would it make you happier and more? It's more of like a security kind of feeling by paying the loan down more.
Right. Yeah, it's just, that's That's a good way of looking at it because
what
like,
if you did? I mean, what if you did half? What if you I don't know how you got the 10,000, but like let's say that I don't know if you worked for the 10,000 and it was just like you had a great whatever.
Yeah.
Because like if that's the case, would you? I feel like rewarding yourself of splitting it and being like, I'm going to pay down 5,000 of the car.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, because like I reached my goal of what I wanted to get to that number, but I also want to like improve the van some. Because you could do a lot with $5,000. I don't know how much you spent to this point.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like I've spent very little.
You probably haven't spent $5,000.
I spent like 1,000.
Yeah, so like you could go a long way with $5,000.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And you can also spend $5,000 over 6 months building, like improving the van.
Right. Yeah, for sure. No, I like the way you said that. Okay.
Because like, imagine if you had to spend $10,000 to improve the van. Like, what would you spend it on? Like, do you know the steps of like what you would spend it on and use that up, or would it be like tough for you to come up with how to spend that money?
No, I know what I'd spend it on, and I'd probably not do it myself. I'd probably want to hire somebody to do it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think that's reasonable. I think that I've hit a certain age where I can say that.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like time too, like time and investment and headache, exhaustion, like things you're gonna come up to and run into that you can't foresee, and it just adds stress and worry, and you don't know if you're gonna be wasting money on things that aren't gonna do the things you think they're gonna do.
And this last year in the van, like I know that me and Brandon argue about this a lot, but like Brandon's my best friend's husband, who helped me build out the original shitty part of the van, for everybody that doesn't know. And he's like one of those people that's like, if you're gonna do it right, Mm-hmm. And so it kills him to see me in a van that's got like purple fucking siding because it's just the insulation and
being fully habitable with comfortability versus like bare bones, like you're improving your living situation by like 10 or 15% by having what you have, where he would require, maybe he wanted like a 50% improvement.
Yeah, like or just like when we built out the van, the way we did it, I was like, Brandon, everything we're putting in here has to be able to be taken out so that we can just do it right the next time.
Yeah, that's like a Band-Aid solution, basically. You put a Band-Aid solution in for $1,000.
Yeah, I did a Band-Aid solution for $1,000, and he's like, Becca, that's ridiculous. Let's just fucking do it correctly the first time and spend $2,000. And I was like, Brandon, we don't have $2,000. We got to spend $1,000, Mm-hmm. So, like, it's kind of like I've been basing it off of that because I don't want to put it on my credit card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely don't do that. I don't know what the interest rate is on that, but it's more than your car payment is.
Oh, for sure.
Your car interest rate. So I'm not in debt. Don't do that. So.
Right. Well, and I'm not in debt, and you know that. But
And I mean, that's your asset. That's like your home. That is your home. So like.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you spend your most time there. You sleep there.
Right. And what's wild is I don't mind it. Like I don't mind living in the Band-Aid solution.
Yeah.
I don't mind
that. I think $10,000 would go a long way, and you would be like, I feel like you almost kind of need a little bit of that grit to, like that, like you feel gritty.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like, But you could also like
And like I see,
$5,000 would probably you could probably extend $5,000 a
I
long
know.
way too.
And I see myself. Well, and I'm like, well, I might as well spend $15,000 and make it fucking amazing, you know. I see myself being able to live in this Band-Aid solution for another year, and like save up that money, and like do it really fucking amazing. But then by that time, am I going to be so sick of it? You know.
Sick of what?
I don't know. Maybe
Living in the van?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I doubt it, but yeah.
But you'll always have that van, right? I mean,
Always.
So
It's going to my grave with me. But I said that about the Subaru too, but it went to its grave almost, so.
Yeah. I think you have some funds allocated though. Like can you Okay.
I mean,
I don't know what the building cost differences are between this year and last year. Like, is it going to be a struggle to, is $2,000 going to go as far as it did a year ago?
Right.
With what you spent $1,000, like, would that $1,000 have cost you $2,000 this year?
Right.
To do?
Probably.
And I don't know how much you've and you probably went through this with some of the things like the fridge and things where they have issues and you got to upgrade them and you got to spend a little bit more money or I think you got that replaced, but
I did. I got the fridge replaced for free and it works great.
So like some things you get that are like, they're like just enough and then you're like, you know what, I'm going to like part ways with that and I'm going to buy something better, so you end up spending 1.5 times what you would have spent if you would have just bought the thing the first time.
Yeah.
But but would you have to go down to the bones again and like that's where your improvements would go?
Well, what's funny is that I feel like
or is it more for like weathering? Like you need to weatherproof it more for
No.
long term?
I'm slowly buying like better solar panels and bigger solar panels because I'd like to eventually have 800 amps or 800 watts on the roof, so that I can run the kiln.
Mm-hmm.
But then once I get 800 watts, I'm gonna have to get to all the batteries.
Why run the kiln? What is the goal of running the kiln? Does that improve? It basically makes you where you could be completely off the grid.
I could be off the grid. Yeah.
Is that what you would want? Is to be off the grid,
yeah, I
or
think it'd be
do
fun.
you still see yourself visiting the places enough that you don't really need the kiln?
I'm sure I'd visit places enough, but I like the idea of being able to be self-sufficient.
Okay. Is it worth that investment?
It's not that big of an investment.
Okay.
It's not that huge, especially
do you have
because
the space for it?
I'm doing it. Yeah, and I'm doing it like slowly.
Batteries and stuff.
Yeah, I do, and I'm doing it slowly. Like I've already bought one 200 amp, and I have two 100 amps.
Yeah.
So, or 100 watts. So I'm like doing it that. I feel like what I'm doing right now is building the outside of the van, so that when the inside of the van needs to be done, I don't have.
Oh yeah.
I don't have to worry about the outside. You know.
Well, yeah, I mean the outside you upgrade. You got the panels. You got the fan.
Yeah.
Like, those are the main things. That
and I've got the roof rack, and I've got the. I want to get like an awning on the side, eventually,
okay.
But
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's pretty sleek. Like it's not gonna take up.
Right.
And it doesn't take any square footage out of the inside.
Right.
To have it on the door or something.
Yeah. So.
Okay. Yeah, the way I like think about the big money investments and stuff, I guess this year the investment I'm doing is in the like soda kiln build.
Yeah.
So like, you know, that's probably going to end up netting, or not netting, but it's probably going to take me about $3,000 to build that.
Yeah.
In materials and labor for like, you know, paying Erica to help with different steps of like mixing glazes and, you know, making some of the prep materials and all that stuff. And then all the work involved, like taking time away from making stuff to like focus on getting things prepared for the kiln build separate, like besides just, you know, how much do the propane tanks cost, how much do, obviously the cinder blocks are cheap, but like the brick, the high fire brick, the insulated brick, I didn't have to pay anything with the kiln body, but like the material that goes inside it and all of that, the burner. So, you know, that's where I'm spending my money this year. And then next year, I have a feeling that I'm going to be... It's going to be... I want to say it's going to be a time. It's going to be a time difference of, like, I'm giving up my time to do these different pieces and this different body of work, and, like, investing in spending time, like, collaborating with other people to come do it with me, so that it's going to take time and money potential away from my other work that I could be doing.
Right.
But it's going to, like, help me for the long term, because it's going to build more enjoyment and kind of, like, re-spark that enjoyment.
Also, it's probably going to build a little bit more of a local community for you.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is really exciting.
Yeah. I'm still curious about the customer side of it, but I'm, like, trying not to think about that now. I'm just, like, going into it for the enjoyment, and then I'm like, you know, my bread and butter stuff is, like, that's going to get done.
Yeah.
Like, the mugs and the wholesale and, like, all that stuff and all the stuff that I've already got the handle of is going to continue.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can increase prices or whatever to make sure I don't need to make as many pieces, so that time can be spent doing other things that I want to do, like the soda firing and...
Yeah. I definitely want to, like... I told my friends yesterday that this next year, I've had this on my mind for a while now, and I don't know how I'm going to execute it, but I would really love to have a side project that's all accessibility based flatware.
All accessibility based flour?
Flatware.
Flatware.
So, like...
What does that mean?
Like, for instance, like, for, like, people with, like, autism, or people with, issues with their hands, or, like, arthritis, or, cerebral palsy, like, mugs with 2 handles, and cups with thumb indents, and mugs with the ridges, so like textural things, but also like plates that are really heavy, plates that are really smooth, or, you know, because like Rebecca had this potential client a while back, and I was so jazzed about this project, and she had a daughter who was 4 years old who needed something that was heavy, like needed a heavy dish so that she could set it on her lap, and it was like a plate bowl that she could set on her lap that she wouldn't chuck across the room, because she had such bad, like she just couldn't handle something light, you know, because of her, I don't know if she was autistic or if she had Downs.
Like her, like stability and just like...
Yeah, like the weight.
You don't... Like, it kind of like holds you in place.
Yeah, like the weight was important, and it had to be like really heavy.
Yeah.
And it had to be smooth on the bottom, and it had to, you know, like, there's certain things that it had to be, and I really like the idea of, like, making dishware, like, nice dishware that has, like, that's made
intentionally for them.
Yeah, it made intentionally for disabled individuals.
How would you go about reaching those audiences?
I don't know.
Not even from a monetary standpoint, but just from finding them standpoint.
I think that there's probably, like, enough support or nonprofits that you could probably find them. But yeah, and then it wouldn't be a monetary thing. Like, I would want it to be something that was very
basically
not monetary.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know.
It's like volunteer, but
nonprofit, like
nonprofit, yeah. You're just covering costs, basically.
Yeah. But I don't know if I can do that until I get my everything else kind of like figured
stabilized.
Out. Yeah, stabilized is a good word. But yeah, I want to do that, and I also want to make more games. Those are my 2 goals for the next year.
Okay. Before this, we just played a game. What was the name of it?
Sagami.
Yeah. It was fun. First time playing it, it was a little tough the first 5 minutes, but once you got going...
Yeah, it's a hard one.
What did it last, like 45 minutes?
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Yeah. That's the problem.
But she handmade it. It's a bunch of ceramic tiles, and then there's like
little pebbles.
pebbles or something that each player has, and
Yeah.
it's how many pieces total is it?
I think it was 18 of each color, so 18 times 4.
Okay.
So
18 times 4, plus you got the little nubbin thing, so.
I think it was like 78 tiles, something like that, plus the nubbins.
Yeah.
So, and
So why the games is it just like the I could see it being like partially tactile, but also like community based and just
it's
spending
just
time.
funner, you
Yeah.
know? And it's like, nobody's making ceramic games, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Because like the easy ones you see are like dominoes. People get little dies that are silicone dies, and you make little slip ones or whatever.
And I could probably say it now, but I didn't say it I haven't talked about it because it's my parents' Christmas present, but they're not going to listen to this. So, I think we're safe. I made my parents a set of dominoes for Christmas this year, and it was a fucking blast to like figure out
how many pieces were the dominoes?
91 pieces.
It's
to 12.
12, right?
Yeah, 12. And it was so much fun. And it was just like cool. And if I could figure out how to it'd be cool to make dice. Like,
that would be cool.
Like a dice. Like Yahtzee. It would be so much fun to make shit like that.
Farkel? Spicy Farkel?
Spicy Farkel?
That would be cool.
Yeah, like stuff, stupid
like you could
stuff.
totally make dice.
I could totally make dice.
I mean, I don't know how. I mean, you're not taking them to Vegas or anything, but they're dice.
Right. I mean, like they're not gonna be even or anything like that.
They're gonna be perfect, but I mean, I guess that's kind of what you want in a dice.
Game?
You do want it to be. You're
pig...
gonna make Pass the Pigs.
Yeah, we could do Pass the Pigs, but we could make it something else.
I wonder if that would roll okay, because you kind of don't want it too heavy.
You could make it some weird shaped die. That's got numbers on it or something instead of like the pig feet.
I don't know. There's so like the obvious ones. People make chess, checkers.
Yeah.
Chess, checkers, dominoes. That game that you're doing, and then we were talking about it a little bit yesterday. We were like, okay, how much would you have to sell a set of 28 tile dominoes, like the basic set of dominoes for?
Yeah.
And how much work's involved. Obviously, you got the rock tumbler, which is the main driver of like what makes these possible and like enjoyable.
Easy. Yeah.
It's not just like rolling it out on canvas and you have the canvas marks all over it and dots and stuff, but it's actually soft and enjoyable to use. And
also, for everybody wondering, yes, the dominoes are like the fidget stones. They are stroke and coat, so the dots are up. They're raised instead of suppressed.
Instead of like
recessed. Suppressed is a word, right?
It is, but I think recessed is like...
Is recessed
is
the
what
right
you're...
word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the right word.
We were trying to make this a short episode.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
No.
I'm trying to think of what else was on my thing here. I feel like this year I've also got more consistency with having support with like Erica and Rachel's been more willing to help this year. So like they've been really, really helpful with like making all this stuff possible, like the mug club, and obviously there's things that you take for granted because once you get them going, like you know, I haven't prepped clay in a long time, but like that shit needs to happen regardless, and the glazing needs to happen, the waxing, like all these steps that are involved in like packing orders. Rachel's taken over a bunch of packing orders this past like I want to say the whole year, but
no, it's been the whole year because every single time I've been over here, she's packed orders.
Yeah, so I mean and I've also like been paying her, so you know I feel like that's been more worth it too. Of like, I'm getting more and more comfortable with like
paying for the help because I'm like, I need it, but also like if I need to incentivize them by paying them, and you know, appreciating the work, and also like, you know, showing the appreciation to like Erica and Rachel, and you know, giving raises and stuff like that to like make sure that they know that I appreciate it. So
yeah,
and also just being comfortable with like, okay, this is what it's gonna cost me to like, hey, they had a big hand in me being able to make $90K.
Oh, for
this
sure.
year, so
yeah.
like they need to get more of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if it's like, oh, well, you could get a high schooler to do this for like $10 an hour, but it's like,
Right.
like there's way more than just the hours and the work being done. To like make it work with the system of like having all of that just play so nicely together.
Yeah.
And also like people that are nice to be around. Obviously, I'm married to one of them, but
Yeah.
like, you know, I feel like that's hard to come by, and you can't plan for that always. It just like some things just kind of happen, and then you like naturally kind of grows and improves and gets better. And you know, luckily I haven't gotten to the point where I had to like get rid of somebody because they weren't working, or I had to like, you know, adjust things and figure it out. And it's like more counterproductive to have this person helping or whatever. So
Yeah.
you know, it's hard to come by good help, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yes.
But it's something I couldn't have had success this year or like last year without them helping. So
I also think I mean, maybe not, I mean, yes, Rachel, but definitely Erica brings like that. I think what she gives to you in the studio is a lot more than just like help. You know, I mean, like, yes, she helps, obviously.
Yeah.
And so does Rachel. But
she's a different personality, though, than other people I've had in the past. She's pretty, like, extroverted, and she'll talk a lot, and we'll, like...
Yeah, she, like, creates a small community. Mm-hmm. Like, it feels like it almost feels like you have a studio, like, mate. Yeah. You know?
And she works on her own stuff here, too.
Yeah,
so she's kind of, like, growing her own skill set and...
I'm sure that's been very good for your mental health to have somebody here that's not just Rachel.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Or the cats. Yeah, because, I mean, some days I'm like, oh, man, like, do I want Erica here and have to, like, talk a bunch or, like...
Yeah.
Or do I want to just, like, hole up in the studio because I've been working and I want to just, like, go do my thing and not think about it and just be in my own world? Or do I want to, like, oh, well, she's going to be here, she's going to be getting stuff done, we're going to be talking, or there's going to be we're listening to a podcast or whatever. And also, like, you find a balance of, like, okay, where's the line of how much do we communicate, but also, like, hey, we need to do this separately, or I need to focus on this, so, like, I give my attention a certain point, but, like, there can be days where we have, you know, a different kind of back and forth on that day. Like when the Mug Club thing was going on, I'm like, I gotta be doing this. Like, I didn't even have to tell her. It's just like
she knows.
You kind of know by like what's going on.
Yeah.
And you kind of get through the basic, you know, hey, how was your weekend? How was your day? Good to see you. What's going on? What's new? And then you kind of like, okay, here's what we're doing today.
Yeah.
And then you kind of like split off, or you do, you know, I'm doing my thing, she's doing her thing, and it just kind of works out. But
she's become an awesome friend to all of us.
Yes.
Yeah. Love her.
She's really excited about this soda kiln stuff too.
Yeah.
So she's looking forward to that.
She joined us for tacos earlier today.
Yeah, And we're going to a show next week. We're going to the like jazz and burlesque show at Ghost Baby.
That's so
You've never
exciting.
been. Did you ever go there with us
haven't.
before? No.
I'm sad. But
we'll go there at some point in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where my year's at. I'm happy I kept up the Mug Monday too.
Oh, dude, that was probably the best thing ever.
Like, I think I've done the hey, it's Monday, here's a new mug. I've been doing that for a year and a half straight.
Yeah.
every Monday.
And it finally paid off this last month.
And new mug every single time. I've never repeated a mug.
That's wild.
Which is crazy because I'm like getting down there and I'm like, oh man, I already feel a little iffy sometimes when I pull up like a tea bowl and I'm like, this is not a mug. I know it's not a mug, but
Yeah.
it's like whatever. And then also like my memory of remembering whose thing this is and finding out whose piece this is.
Yeah.
But also just like the sense of, okay, this is my thing I'm going to do every single Monday, no excuse. Just like our podcast, like every single Saturday, no excuse. And I'm just going to keep going. And then like the one that we had this, a couple weeks ago
blew up.
It blew up and got, I think now it's up to like 3.7 million views or something.
Wild.
With Sarah from Not Work Related. So
God, your mugs are so boring.
it's crazy. So like, hey, and if it means I'm known as the mug guy, I don't care. Like, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah. It's like an easy thing to just, hey, I'm sharing my collection, but also sharing fellow people, which is what I intend to do. So
exactly.
I think that can only like widen the,
Mm-hmm.
and I know like most of these people I don't know very well, but it's like, hey, I bought their stuff for a reason. So it's just kind of building that relationship a little bit more.
For sure. Oh, it's good.
All right, we're at 2 hours.
Yeah, we should stop.
It's almost 1 a.m.
Yep. And I gotta drive to your parents tomorrow.
Yep.
And
All
you
right.
gotta work.
All right. Thanks everybody for listening.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for listening to another episode of Wheel Talk. This podcast is made possible through the contributions of all of our listeners who always ask us great questions, leave us reviews, and contact with us through social media. Thanks to all the fellow makers as well who take time to be interviewed and share about their lives and businesses.
And thank you to Ashley from Boldover Ceramics and Lindy from Lindy Garner Ceramics for their assistance on the Wheel Talk Podcast Instagram. You are invaluable. Thank you to everybody.